What's happening, guys? Langosta here with Rifles, Rods, and Broads. And today, JoJo and I have a special guest.
We do have a special guest. So I was looking around the studio here and in deep conversation one night after one of our podcast recording, you know, we decided to put some feng shui up in the studio, and we thought to ourselves, what would go good here?
Oh, with the decor, yeah. Yeah, we always got to do some improvements.
Right. And we're so proud to live in a great country of America. So we needed another American flag. And guess what?
You found one.
We found one. And we found the right person. And he is going to be our special guest here tonight on Rifles, Rods, and Broads.
Yep. What's up, guys? Langosta here with my good friend JoJo.
How's it?
And today we're in studio with a special guest.
We do have a special guest, a friend of the show and a South Bay original, a local here. We've got Justin of American Flag Company. How's it, Justin?
It's going good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. Appreciate you being here. And for all you folks out there, I got to start with saying that you have to check out Justin's Instagram at American Flag Company. That is at American_flag_co on Instagram. And what you will find there is a treasure chest of all kinds of great American flags, handmade out of wood. So Justin, thank you very much for being on the show.
Definitely. Thank you again for having me.
Of course, man. And I've got to start out with sharing the story of how Justin and I met. And it was at the South Bay Archery Club that is currently still shut down, unfortunately, for every member that is obviously a member there who wants to shoot their bow, practice. It's the most beautiful range in the whole wide world. But due to unfortunate Mother Nature circumstances, it has not reopened. But one day I remember shooting the bow and then driving out there, and I forget who exactly it was, but they're like, "Hey, meet my buddy Justin, man. You got to check out what he does." And I was like, "Okay, what does he do?" And the podcast was just starting at that time, and it was it was like, "Hey, what's up, man? Hey, Justin, JoJo, what's up?" And then you turned me onto your Instagram, and I shared with you, our Instagram, our podcast, and when I looked at it, I was just like blown away, like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Like, the artwork that was produced on your Instagram was just amazing. American Flag Company, beautiful work, Justin. And we are going to talk about how it all got started. We're going to talk about your affiliation with the outdoors, stuff that you like to do. And again, thank you very much for joining the show. And if anybody notices, we have something new right behind us in our backdrop. And look at that. That is absolutely amazing. That is a piece of art, and it is here in our studio to stay. Justin, again, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us, man.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
You too, man.
So, American Flag Company, or again at Instagram, American_flag_co. You started it when? Tell us a little bit about the background of when it all began.
Yeah, my wife had actually seen something similar on Pinterest or something, right? And she wanted to buy one, and I'm like, nah, we're not buying that. I can make one, right? Out of high school, I was in construction, so I already had some tools and some familiarity with working with, wood and whatnot. And went to Lowe's, bought some supplies, and had an excuse to buy a new tool. And took me a few hours, but knocked it out, and it came out pretty sweet. Posted it on Facebook just as like a, hey, look what I made, right? Before you know it, I was taking that one off my wall and selling it, and then made another one, and so on and so forth. And then basically just decided, you know what, this could be a good little side hustle.
So flag number one, you placed onto the wall, and then it became a seller?
It was, I want to say the first three came off my own wall, into somebody else's house. So
And what year was this back in?
So that would have been 2020. I started my Instagram page in 2021 in January. So,
Nice.
What do you what are some of the things? So I was looking through your Instagram, and it's it's amazing how and part of it could be some of the stuff you've created, but I'm curious to see how many of these are requests, affiliated to like the founding of the country, those types of themes, or kind of what America what the flag represents to so many Americans, which is freedom, right?
Right.
How many people have asked for like stuff that's like colonial, like the 1700?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I've done quite a few Betsy Ross flags, but I would say that a good majority of my customer base is mostly for gifts, right? Like, hey, my father-in-law was in the military. Can you make an, yeah. So I did a lot of blue line flags actually during COVID and after like the George Floyd stuff when the cops were getting, kind of shamed on.
Right.
Which was kind of a cool time because I've always been, a fan of the police force, and I can't even imagine what they went through at that time.
Yeah. It's definitely dark days.
Yeah. And to be able to make, flags for people across the country and kind of brighten their spirits and remind them why they're waking up every day.
Yeah.
And going to work. So that was kind of cool.
So in terms of kind of getting it started, so it all started with a Pinterest post,
Yep.
interest from the wife,
Yep.
and then no, we're not dropping a dime on that. I'm going to go down to Lowe's. I'm going to pick up the product and I'm going to make it happen.
Yep.
So how was that whole process? Like you went into the store and you're like, what do I need?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I need a Dremel because I got a Dremel out the stars, right? Which I didn't have one already. So I'm like, that's, $200. And I'm like, I need red stain, I need blue stain, I need white stain, and I need some wood. And that was about it. So then I finished the first flag, and I was like, man, I got these cans of stain. What am I going to do with them, right? I got to make more. And then at that point, I just kind of decided that I'd make them for friends or family for, holiday gifts and whatnot. But yeah, as soon as people started wanting to buy them, it was like, okay, this is a little small side hustle. And then it kind of just took off from there. I mean, it took a little while. Took a lot of pictures and, posting and, sharing it with friends and family.
So most importantly, though, what was the wife's reaction after the first one? Did she say you nailed it, or did she give you like, it's like a 3 out of a 5? Or
typical wife answer was, I think it's crooked. No, she loved it. She was actually impressed. And then kind of heartbroken to see it come off the wall and leave and not get another one.
Where are you going with that now?
Yeah.
I sold it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
don't worry, babe, I'm going to make you a better one. It's going to be bigger.
That's right. And I did. We made bigger ones too. Yep.
Wow. So just a question. What's the biggest flag that you have in your house right now then that you've made?
That's funny, right? I'm actually glad you asked that. So it's one of those things like when people do things for a living, like let's say you're a carpenter, and your own home, you don't want to work on your own home because you're spending all your time and weeks working on other people's homes, right? So oddly enough, I actually have, quite a few American flag things in my house. Like I made what are they called? Like the stove topper. So you have like extra counter space.
Yeah.
And then I have the vertical hanging like draped flag. But the hard part is every time I make a flag and it's a good one, I'm like, I don't want to sell this one. I want this one, So not a whole lot of things, but they definitely go on my wall for pictures and stuff like that.
So in terms of the process of making a flag, how long does that take?
It varies on, if it's just like if it was this flag without, any additional stuff to it, just stars and stripes. I've gotten them down now to where I can get them done in about 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And I usually try to do a few at a time to make, the day worth it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on, man. But kind of going back to your company and on Instagram again, American_flag_co, it really started to blow up. And one of the things that, when I met you and I learned about, your company and the things that you made, you've come across a lot of people in the short time that your business has been around.
Yeah.
So definitely. Tell us a little bit about the people that you met and that and
the
that
two
you
famous
kind of
guys.
I mean, look
Right.
at the
They're on the
screen
screen.
that we have right now. Like if you don't recognize these people, then you did not watch this past year's election.
Right.
Or you have no idea in regard to like, in terms of like, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, along with, some of the biggest influencers in the industry that we love in terms of hunting and fishing. Joe Rogan, Cam Hanes, tell us a little bit about, some of the people that you've made flags for and how that came about.
So I did a flag for my best friend. Actually, he's an archer as well. He made like a replica Native American arrow, and so we built a frame and casted it in epoxy, and we just kind of made like a like a blue line or a red line flag, but we wanted to make one kind of specifically for archery. So we did that. It turned out bitchin'. He hung his bow, that he had made his own little rack, and so we hung that above it.
Yeah.
And I posted it on my page, and I tagged like all the archers I could think of, right? And including Rogan. And
You didn't tag
Cam
me,
Haines.
bro.
I know. I don't know if I had known you that. But yeah, so I tagged a bunch of guys, and like Josh Bomar and Dudley, and so all of a sudden, like the next day, I'm like, oh wow, I'm like, some of these guys are actually liking this picture. It's freaking crazy. And I see that Joe Rogan liked it, and I'm like, damn, I'm like screenshotting it, texting it to my buddies, like, dude, Joe Rogan liked my photo. And then he also started following my page based on that post, which I was just blown away with, right? It was like, I had to double check because I'm like, there's just no way. It's a fake Joe Rogan account, right? There's like, this guy's got like 12 followers or something. But no, so I pop it open and I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely Joe Rogan. So I kind of sat on it for a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to like ruin this opportunity, but I don't want to let it, slip through the cracks either. So then it was actually when he got COVID. I kind of thought to myself, like, man, when I had COVID, it was like I didn't want to do anything. I sat on the couch or laid in bed watching Netflix. You're sitting on your phone. So I thought this is probably a good time to send him a message, because now that we're friends on social media, he'll get the notification, right? So send him a message. I'm like, hey, Joe, basically I made you this flag. Let me know if you like it, if you want it, and where would you like me to ship it? So he responds back, dude, that's badass. Thank you so much. I'm going to get you in touch with my manager, and he'll get you all the shipping, details and whatnot. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm sending Joe Rogan a flag, right? This is crazy. So I tried to sweeten the pot by making him another flag. I did the Texas flag, since he was a new resident in Texas.
Yeah. Out of California into Texas.
Right. And man, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of that Texas flag. That was one of my first ones, and I just don't like the star. And it bugs me sometimes that it's still up, but he likes it. So that's what it's all about, right?
That's all that matters, right?
And it is a cool flag. But yeah, so I ended up boxing those up and I shipped them out to him. And one of the things about my business is when I ship people flags, I always want them to at least say like, hey, I got my flag, opened it up. It looks beautiful, right? Just something. And a lot of people don't, believe it or not. They're like, they get it, and then I never hear from them again.
Yeah.
And or I get the random like picture, once in a while of it on their wall. But so I think a few months goes by, he sends me that picture that you just shared, and he's like, hey man, got the flags up, they look awesome. Thanks again, really appreciate it. I'm like, okay, no shout out, but they're on his wall, like, and I don't know where they're at on his wall. I just seen that picture.
Never heard of that guy, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and then I don't know, a few months later, he ends up doing a shout out like at 2:00 in the morning. And, he says there's shout out to American Flag Co. for the beautiful wall art for our studio. I didn't even know that had happened. And because I wasn't, my Instagram wasn't that big yet. So I didn't even bother to have like my notifications set.
Send push notifications.
Yeah.
No.
So I wake up in the morning. It's like, I don't know, 6:30. I'm like making coffee. Check my phone. I'm like, oh, my cousin, texted me. He's like, dude, congratulations, man. That's so freaking awesome. Joe Rogan. And I'm like, oh, my cousin must have just realized Joe Rogan follows me, right? So then I'm like, oh, let me go to Instagram, right? See what's going on. I open up my phone, and it just starts just going crazy on the counter with notifications, right? Just hundreds and hundreds of followers, thousands of followers, messages, just tons of requests and orders, and just kind of went from there.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know the pictures that you post, not only Joe Rogan, but you got Dana White that's got one of your flags, Cody Gambrandt.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely. Yeah.
Dude,
So the Dana,
look at that flag. Look at that Dana White flag. How did that come about? Like, was that like special request or?
No. So same thing actually, right? So that was actually a flag I was just working on because I had done a few wavy flags. And I'm like, I want to do a wavy Betsy Ross flag. And so I did that one, and I'm like, I want to add We the People to it. I was just like, and that one was actually going to be for me. It was going to be for my house. So I made it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to send a message to Dana White. He follows me. I follow him. Let's see what happens. So I sent it to him like, hey, Dana, made you a flag, man. Like, let me know where you want me to send it, right? I'm going to try to get the momentum going like I did with Rogan.
Yeah.
And Dana White responds like, dude, that's fucking beautiful. I want 10 more. And I'm like, what?
Whoa.
I'm like, okay. He's like, how much? And so I told him, I'm like, oh, they're $500 a piece, right? And so with us, going up to Bullhead and stuff all the time, and him being in Vegas, worked out a deal. I was like, hey man, I can ship these to you, right? But I'm pretty much up there all the time. I'd love to, physically deliver them to you if that's okay. He's like, absolutely, right? So we drive up to Vegas, and he gives me the, directions to the UFC headquarters, sets a time. So it's like a full-blown appointment. Pull up to the security guard booth, and he's like, how can I help you? I'm like, I have a meeting at 1:30 with Dana White. I'm like, I can't believe I just said that, right? Like, it's freaking nuts. So the gate's open. I'm like, oh shit, here we go, right? So go in there, and I got 11 of those flags, like in the back of my wife's car. I'm like, hey, I'm here to meet with Dana White. And they gave me some cart that I loaded them all up on, and we rolled them in. And he comes out of his office and shake hands. I'm like, dude, I was like starstruck, and it wasn't even because of like his celebrity status. I think for me, it was like just about like his wealth and just his business and ethics and stuff just growing.
And your business too.
Yeah. Like it was huge for me, like just to see someone that's successful, right? Not so much a celebrity, but just someone at that level.
He's a solid dude.
Yeah.
I think it's an appreciation of your work too, right? Like I'd imagine if I were in the wooden American flag business that, rolling up in my wife's car to the UFC headquarters and being let in, and providing this delivery, like, that's a sense of pride in the sense of like, wow, this all started with a Pinterest post.
Yeah.
And the culmination of hard work, dedication, actually doing something about it, and now started from the bottom. Now we're here,
right
in terms of like,
definitely,
like, wow, this is crazy. And here's some more pictures. And one of the things that you'll note when you follow Justin and American Flag Co. is that it's not just for the Joe Rogans of the world, it's not just for the Dana Whites of the world, but like you said earlier in the show, it's about raffling off, benefiting certain people or organizations. We got you that picture right there with the fire department. So what about that flag?
That was rad. So I actually, he ordered it. He was actually a follower through the Joe Rogan shout out.
Okay.
And he's in Maricopa County, so out in Arizona. He orders a wavy red line flag. I'm like, perfect. I hadn't done a red line wavy flag yet, so I do one.
Sick.
It was beautiful. I shipped it to him, and UPS was playing cornhole with it or something because it showed up broken.
Oh, no.
And so he sends me some pictures. And I'm like, I'm devastated, right? That's my first flag that's arrived at someone's house broke. And I'm like, ugh, right? I didn't do the shipping insurance or any of that stuff. So I'm like, I'm like, dude, I'm going to make you another one. Or I'll give you your money back right now, or whatever you want, I will make it work, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no worries, man. Like, stuff happens. Like, just if you can make another one, no problem. So he's like, where are you out of? And at the time I was living in Buckeye, Arizona, so not too far. And he invites me up. He's like, if you have a wife, kids, your family, whatever, he's like, deliver the flag. We'll give you guys the full tour. So I'm like, this sounds awesome, right? So we go up to the fire station. They give us the full shebang. We got to ride around in the fire truck. He got my daughter all suited up in fire gear. And
oh, sweet. She must have loved that.
She did. She actually wants to be a firefighter now. So
nice.
Because of that experience, you know what I mean? So that was kind of cool. Most definitely.
Way cool.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. So in terms of like the flags that you're making, obviously certain flags take a different amount of time. What do you prefer to make? Do you like the wavy flags, the more kind of like eccentric, like some of the ones that we showed where you've got the cutouts, the traditional ones?
Yeah.
What's your vibe?
I like doing something unique, right? Like, so the new Mountain Outfitters one, that was all done with a wood burning tool. So basically like a wood burning, almost like a soldering iron, I guess.
Okay.
So I just stenciled it out, on paper, carbon paper or whatever, and then just went to town burning it. Just the bear alone took, I don't know, probably 7 hours. There's quite a bit of detail in there, and to me, it's fun, but it's also scary because I'm like, you're 90% through this project. What if I screw up now, right? Yeah. So that's always nerve wracking, but I think that's what kind of keeps it fun and entertaining.
And it looks like out of that UPS episode that you got a great idea to make actual cornhole American flag.
Yeah, those are my personal batch. I've had quite a few requests for cornhole. The downside is people got to realize that it's not just cornhole that you're getting from Big Five, right? It's still art. It's essentially 2 American flags and then obviously some framing, and I threw in the LED lights and the cornhole bags, and so they do get kind of expensive. So I haven't really sold too many of those. I wasn't really marketing too
What's
much.
pretty sick is that you got the red line and blue line. So I could totally see like the PD versus the FD cornhole championship.
Yep. Absolutely. It'd be awesome to do that for sure.
Dude, that's pretty sick, man.
So, yeah. So and then back to the Dana White thing. So we went into his office, and he comes out and talks to my wife and I, and he's like, checking out the flags. And so I went to this little trophy shop in Lomita, and I had placards made. So I like individualized each one of them. So like 1 of 11, 2 of 11.
Oh, cool.
Just to kind of make them a little more special for, because he ordered a batch of all the same flag. Yeah. And so, at the end, he's like, well, what do I owe you? And I'm like, it felt weird asking, but I'm like, it's I gave you the 1 flag for free, and then the 10 at $500 of $5,000. He's like, okay. So he walks to this safe that's like bigger than my refrigerator, and he just goes, hey, I sweetened the pot, and hands me $10,000 in cash.
Wow.
And I was just blown away. I'm like, oh my gosh,
that's
this
amazing.
This is freaking awesome, right? Like, definitely the coolest sale. Just a humbling experience for sure.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Super, super rad. Yeah.
Well deserved. I mean, just looking at everything that you put out there, it's just top of the line. So,
and then the big thing with that is, so he's got 1, right? It's in his office.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are those other 10 going? He's got some high level friends, right? I mean, he's friends with, Kid Rock and Donald Trump and all kinds of big name people. So I'm like, I always wonder, I'm like, does the president of the United States have one of my flags? Like, it's so possible.
Dude, you should do a 45-47.
Right. Yeah.
You should do a 45-47.
Definitely.
Like
I know part of me wants
like
to
a double
ask
flag.
him. Part of me wants to ask him if Mr. Trump has one, but I don't want to push.
Yeah, that'd be kind of pretty cool.
I would just love to know. I'd put it on my resume. The president of the United States has my artwork, right?
Put that at the very top.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Justin, this happened 5 years ago. I don't care. It's at the top.
Yeah. and whether you're a Trump fan or whoever, it doesn't even matter. I don't even care.
It's the president of the United States.
The president of the United States, no matter who it is, that's a huge,
for sure,
huge accomplishment.
For sure.
But I don't know if he has one or not. I'm assuming. But
well, I mean, he's a big fan of rifles, rods, and broads, so
right.
I'm pretty sure he'll send us.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't know we exist. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know we exist. So are they mostly this size?
This is definitely the most common size. Yep. I make one that's a little bit smaller, probably about half, and then the other one that's larger, which is actually about the size of that one there, the 3x5, which people love, and I love making them, but it's always scary to ship them. They cost quite a bit more to ship, so that kind of deters people from wanting to buy them.
Sure.
I mean, so if I was shipping this size to Florida, it'd probably be $40, maybe 50. Mm-hmm. That one's going to be, 130, 150, right? So
it's a
quite a big difference.
So what's been like from when you first started to where you are now? What are your thoughts? Are you still as stoked doing them, or even more so? Because I've noticed that you have like a progression, right? Like now you're doing maybe even like half 2 different flags.
Yep.
If it's like 2 different countries that the person's from.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I still do it almost every weekend if I'm not out of town. I mean, I enjoy doing them. It's something that I can kind of stand back and look at while the clear coat's drying and just go kind of, damn, I made that, right? And to be honest, I love giving them away. I mean, I've done them for like guys at work, my regular 9 to 5, as retirement gifts.
Nice.
I'll sand the back, nice and smooth, and we'll pass it around the entire facility and let everybody sign it. And, kind of wish him off for his retirement.
That's cool.
And I know you've done stuff for the archery club as well.
I have, yeah. I've done a few items for raffle prizes and stuff up there. I've done some, a couple different, charity events. I had a buddy that was in a motorcycle accident, and so that was like my first charity. It was like, hey, I'm going to donate this flag. We'll do $10 raffle tickets, and all the proceeds will go to you. I think on that one we raised like $800 or $900, which was awesome, right? And then somebody gets to win a cool flag. He gets a little bit of money to help him out, and everybody's happy.
I think also too with the American flag, especially, we obviously, I know I feel this way and you guys feel this way too. This is the greatest freaking country on the planet Earth. And there's a sense of pride when it comes to the American flag. From the time that you start entering the world of school and education, every morning you're standing with your right hand over your heart and you are saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So there's always kind of like that special moment and that special kind of draw and relationship with the American flag. And, after meeting you, going through the whole Instagram, kind of going through everything in terms of like, wow, that's a unique piece of art. It really turns the American flag, which everyone knows, into a piece of art. And I can almost guarantee that anyone that has one of your flags looks at it in that way, in terms of like, hey, this is art, but it's also something that I hold dear to my heart in regard to from the first day I was in school or even before that. I mean, I pledged my allegiance to it. Our hunting and fishing club that we're a part of, the Redondo Rod and Gun Club, we start every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and, having it, on your wall as a piece of art, what an addition to anywhere.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I mean, even just going to a ball game or any type of big event where they do the national anthem, it's like, if that doesn't tickle your heart a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's always amazing kind of seeing them wave too.
Like the massive
big
flags,
ass freaking flags. It's like, holy shit.
The super flags. Yeah.
So
for sure.
In terms of your Instagram, and I know we were talking a little bit earlier, but to kind of share with our guests kind of the moment, because when people go to your Instagram and you've already got thousands and thousands of followers, one of the things that they'll see is that there's a lot of people that have reached out to you, and you actually came out during a very interesting time, right? So you started making your first flags in 2020, and then, your Instagram in 2021. And we all remember those days. Those are the days of COVID where everybody was at home wondering what the hell's going on.
Yep.
Right. And I think, the American flag provides that sense of security that no matter what, we're all going to move on. But there was a moment in time where, people started reaching out to you. So can you kind of go into the details of like what happened? Where did American_flag_co really start to kind of take off?
Yeah. So during COVID, I mean, at first I was a little worried. It was like, man, I started this little, side business. Not that I invested a ton of money into it, but I was excited about it, and I had a little momentum through, just friends and family, just kind of close word of mouth. Then COVID hit, and I was like, man, nobody's going to buy this stuff. Nobody wants to purchase wall art, right? I mean, it's COVID. They're scared. Everybody's spending all their money on toilet paper and Dayquil, right?
Yeah.
I was there.
Right. And
vitamin D.
Yep. Lo and behold, I was surprised. It was actually the complete opposite. I think that due to all of the events and, ball games and people going out to the bar and out to dinner, that wasn't a possibility. So people just sat at home, and a lot of people were just buying stuff online. And I just happened to be a part of that little niche.
Dude, I raised my hand. I was one of those people just buying stuff online.
Right.
Like, oh shit, I need this.
Yeah. Those Amazon guys, man, essential.
Oh my God. They made like a ton of money off of my household. And I've said it many times before, like, and our spending habits have continued on past COVID, where we still have boxes every day, but
right.
Yeah. So you are, you're a hunter.
Yes, I try.
Yeah. So you guys met at the archery range.
Yep.
We did. Yeah. So at the archery range is where I met Justin, and he was shooting with a couple of your buddies.
Yep.
So tell us kind of about, along the lines of what's your interests in regard to like the outdoors.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, I was always, in the outdoors, right? I was the kid that was always gone on vacations, camping.
Here in California? Is that where you grew up? Or?
Yeah, most of it was here in California. Yep,
okay.
Yep. So I grew up a little bit in Orange County, and then the rest of my, teenage years and adult life in LA County here. But yeah, growing up, I mean, you were talking about Kern River earlier. So I've been rafting the Kern River since I was probably about 5.
No kidding.
I ended up being a kayak guide at 15, I think. And then we did that for, I don't know, I want to say till I was about 21. And then my uncle, you know, he stopped guiding and setting up the whole event. But and I haven't really done it since. But that was a huge part of my childhood was river rafting.
Really?
Yep. Camping,
So you're a
river
kayak guide
Yeah. Yeah.
down the Kern?
Yep. So we used to do from I guess it'd be the upper Kern. So like from the powerhouse down to the bridge, like what is that, Frandy Park down there. So yeah, been up there a couple times a year, almost my whole life.
The Kern, it's kind of funny as you drive through Bakersfield and you start getting into Kern, and they have that sign like the killer. They don't have the killer Kern, obviously. To locals, it's known as that, but then it says like the amount of lives that we're taking. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this shit's getting serious.
Well, when it flows heavy, it's heavy. Have you ever done that? Have you done whitewater rafting or?
I have not. So we've talked about doing that, but I have not done that yet.
It's awesome.
I've done it at the American River.
Yeah.
We did it one summer, and my dad and I actually went whitewater rafting in Alaska.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was way cool, and on glacier water. So
Yeah.
that it's freezing. It was not summer Kern River water for
Well,
sure.
glacier water. There's the key word right there.
Yeah, so
There's the description.
it's fun. It's really it's like the ultimate adventure.
Oh yeah.
So you get into, you're doing that into your childhood, and then how does that like kind of evolve into your interest today in terms of the outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, just growing up, it was always fun to go camping. My dad and my mom, they took us camping all the time. We did some cross country stuff, went all the way up into Canada in a Dodge van, and camped all along the way. So that was pretty sweet. And then obviously as I got older, it was like, you get a girlfriend, you're like, hey, we should go camping. You're like, I know how to do that, right? I can set up a tent.
Yeah. Let me get a Dodge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, and I just love being out there in nature. Love animals, love just being a part of the wild and stuff. And yeah, it's just peaceful.
So would you are you more of a hunter than a fisherman, or?
Definitely. I had a fishing incident that kind of turned me away from fishing.
Oh yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. I didn't know much about fishing at the time. My brother was he was younger. He was probably like 12. My parents were out of town, so I was kind of taking care of him. I'm like, hey, let's go to the pier and fish, right? I don't have a fishing license, but I know you can fish off the pier. I'm like, we're
Without
good.
a license? Yeah.
Sure. So we're there for a few hours. I'm just trying to keep my brother entertained because my parents are out of town. We catch a fish. I don't even know what kind of fish it is, but I'm going to eat it, right? We're going to take this thing home and eat it. So we caught one fish, and it was no bigger than your cup, right? And as we're walking out of the parking lot, there's like this 19-year-old fishing game guy, and he's like, hey, buddy, like, what do you got going on over there? Like, oh, man, we caught this fish. Check him out, and he's like, I think it was a sand bass. And he's like, yeah, that's not the legal limit. I'm like, dude, it's one fish. What are you talking about?
Why you got to kill the vibe?
Yeah, so that's when I learned that like fish have to, meet a certain length in order to legally take them.
Yeah.
It was about a 1/4 inch too short, and so he threw the dead fish back in the ocean, wrote me a ticket, and I missed the court date because
Double
right. So I missed the court date because it's right around the time I'm getting married. Remembered that I missed the court date. Like went to the courthouse. I'm like, hey, I don't want, a warrant or nothing like that. So they set me up with another court date. Luckily, the judge was cool about it. He's like, man, it's not like you're in Alaska poaching. Like you caught a fish that was barely too short, slap on the wrist, paid the fees, and off I went. But it was scary. They wanted to suspend my license and impound my vehicle. And I'm like, dude, screw fishing, man.
Yeah.
But I love fish, right? I love fish, and I definitely would like to get back into it. But
you shoot a short buck, and they'll take your car right then and there.
Oh, yeah.
Your car, the gun, the ammo,
everything. Yeah.
I've got a similar story, man. When I was living in Maui, and me and my buddies went out fishing one night, and it brings us, and I tell this story all the time, but my buddies and I went out fishing for there's a redfish. It's called minpachi, and the best time to catch minpachi is at nighttime. Where it's really dark outside, and it's a squirrel fish is basically what it is, and it's the whipping technique. Here in California we call it surf fishing, but we went out. I parked my truck and we went out fishing, and it was like this secret honey hole of Minpachi. And we went fishing, and we just we killed it. And Minpachi is a great pan frying fish. So what you want to do is find a honey hole and catch as many as you can. So when you bring it home, you know, there's enough to share with everybody. So after our night was done, and this was maybe about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I went back to my truck, and I had a parking ticket on it because I had parked at one of the State Beach parking lots. Okay. And I was like, okay, parking ticket, easy. And I thought to myself, because I was smart, right? I was like 18 years old. I'm going to fight this because the signs aren't good. There's not any good signage that says that you can't park here at a certain time. Yep. So I decided to do that. So, you know, obviously the court date's set, and I set my alarm, and I don't wake up. Because the electricity went out during the middle of the night. And this is when, you know, you didn't use your cell phone for an alarm. You actually used a freaking alarm clock for an alarm. So I didn't wake up, and I thought no big deal about it. So I call, and I was like, okay, well, what's the phone number to call? So I call the phone number, and they say, oh, you need to head down to the courthouse. And I was like, okay, I'll head down to the courthouse. And then they said, we're going to give you we're going to assign you a public defender. And I was like, Public defender. And I was like, okay.
Who, me?
Do you understand your situation? And I was like, not really. Like, I didn't wake up because the electricity went out. They're like, well, you're technically in contempt of court. And I was like, what does that mean?
Right.
So I went through the whole process, and it was like, no contest. You know, all I wanted to do was fight my freaking parking ticket.
Sure. Yep.
So I ended up paying my parking ticket, and, you know, I was dumb at the time, had no idea what the hell I was doing. And, you know, my public defender must have sucked because he did a horrible job at explaining what the hell I was saying to this judge.
Sir, you're going to be held in contempt of court.
Yeah. Right. So they're like, okay, no contest. So boom, 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 pay the $50 parking ticket, and then head on down to the police station. And I was like,
Police station.
So I go down to the police station, and they're like, and let me just bring this back to the original story. This is a freaking parking ticket from a fishing adventure catching Minpachi.
They didn't realize that you had 2 buckets of triple limits of Kampachi.
Right.
No, it was all good. It was all legal. The only thing that was not legal, according to them, not according to me, because there was not good signage, was the fact that I was parked in a parking lot that I wasn't supposed to be parking in at that time.
Yep.
Ended up going down to the police station, and they started like putting the slides on the thing that you hold for your mugshot. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, oh, you pleaded no contest to contempt of court. I was like, wait a second.
What? Contempt of court?
So they actually had to like do that whole processing thing. Dang. And I remember I told the police officer, I said, you know, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I might, you know, ignorantly not necessarily know all the laws, but can you do me a favor? I said, you know, take whatever you need to take, but this is going to be the coolest photo for my collection. Right. Like, when you're done, can I take like regular photos? And the guy, I remember he was just like, are you serious? And I'm like, I'm dead serious. I have those photos to the day.
It's the MySpace
with
profile
like
picture.
This right here. And I'm like, And that kind of stuck with me for, you know, it was on my record for quite some time. But getting back to the story.
Yeah.
You were contempt of court for a $50 ticket.
For a $50 ticket.
This is what happens.
If
guys.
I knew then what I knew now.
This is what happens, guys, when you give bureaucrats too much power.
Yeah.
It turns in this little small, little insignificant nothing turns into like thousands of dollars and a big ass hassle.
Yeah, I got lucky. The judge actually was pretty nice. I mean, because it was like they were ready to, you know, suspend my license and the whole 9 yards. I'm like, it's a fish that I didn't even get to eat. It was like 11 3/4 of an inch or whatever,
and he threw it back.
And he threw it back, right? Yeah. No,
I was involved in a short lobster incident.
Oh.
Upon which
allegedly.
No. Allegedly for sure. I didn't even catch
allegedly for sure.
I didn't catch the stupid lobster. I didn't get to eat the stupid lobster, but I got a $600 ticket for a stupid lobster.
Ouch.
We went on our friend's boat from the gun club over here in PV, and it was a nice night. We got quite a bit of, it was 4 of us. There was plenty of lobsters, and there was a couple. The other 2 guys had never gone lobster fishing, so they were pretty excited that every time we pulled the net up, it was full of lobsters.
That's cool.
So it was cool. It was that part was way cool. What wasn't cool is that they wanted to keep every lobster that was in the basket, and they were obviously not legal. So we measured them. We had our little scales and stuff like that, and And I don't know, we probably lifted, we had what, 7 nets, something like that, probably for 3 hours. So I think we ended up walking away with three lobsters each or something like that, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Not normal, not the normal haul for 4 guys. Long story short, these two overzealous individuals put 2 lobsters and they were short. So one of them was, I think it wasn't short. I think it definitely rubbed on the scale. But okay, the other one was short for sure, like a 16th of an inch short.
Right.
I mean, like real like very, very minor short.
Yep.
But you guys had no idea it was short.
I didn't know that we were in there. So we come back to the port and we're cleaning up the boat and getting all our gear off, and the fishing game guys come in. They're like, "Hey guys, how'd you guys do?" I'm like, "Oh, we did pretty good. You know, can we check out what you got?" Yeah, come on board. They looked at everything, and they were still in the live well bait in the bait well. So we started pulling them out and started measuring. He measured all of them.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Hey guys, this one is gray, and they're still alive. So that little dude goes back in the ocean.
Sure.
This dude here is short, for sure. Who's gonna take the ticket?" And then it's fucking crickets. It's fucking crickets, right? So my buddy who owns the boat, he's like, he didn't even touch a lobster. He was just running the boat the whole night, right?
Damn.
The rest of the guys, you know, the game warden looks at them and then crickets. And I look at these 2 motherfuckers. And I'm like, which one of you assholes is gonna fess up to it? Because for sure, all night I was throwing back short lobsters.
Sure.
I'm like, are you sure? Are you serious? Are you sure? Dude, give me that lobster. Boom, going overboard. So, just as the boat owner was going to fall on the sword, I'm like, "Nah, man, I'll, you know, I was in charge of these 2 bozos, and apparently I didn't do a good enough job, so I'll follow the sword for it."
That sucks.
So, it was just really awkward. It was just awkward. I was inside. I was a little bit simmering. You know, I was really pissed.
Yep.
I was really pissed because those 2 fuckers, the 2 newbies, were completely okay with letting the owner of the boat take the full rap for a lobster he didn't touch. So, you know, I don't think they got invited again, come to think of it. Anyway, I got my little notice or whatever, and it wasn't even like I didn't have to show up. It was just like, here's a ticket, asshole, for $550.
So for those that don't know, this is the origin story of Langosta.
How I got my club name. Because later on, you know, I was involved in an incident where I didn't have my lobster card, and one of the Boy Scout members that was in charge of writing all of the lobster count and all that stuff, he noticed that my lobster card was expired from the previous year, and I don't know, it was hard for him to tell because it was a completely different color of the card. So
That's funny.
So he didn't mention anything. He didn't make a big deal of it the day of. We went fishing and stuff, and we caught and whatever. And I was brought up on charges. So at the gun club, if you do something funny, or mostly if you do something funny and you try and get away with it,
you'll be that guy.
You'll
kangaroo court.
You'll be brought up on charges. There'll be a full court process, and you'll have a trial attorney. You'll have a defense attorney, and you'll probably get convicted of whatever it is they're accusing, and then you get a club name.
Yeah, it's likely.
Club name.
Yeah,
So anyway, that's kind of like a short version of what happened that whole night. But
that's the main reason I stopped fishing. It was like, it deterred me. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, there's too many. So I lived in Bullhead City, actually up by Laughlin, right out of high school. My parents had a place. They rented it to my girlfriend at the time, right? My wife now. So we were young. We were like, oh, let's do it. Let's move out there. And that's actually where I started. I bought my first shotgun out there. Went into a Walmart and bought a 12 gauge Mossberg. And I was doing a little bit of fishing right there in the Colorado River. And it was like, they were asking, well, are you going to fish on land? Are you going to fish in the water? Are you going to fish on the Nevada side? And you needed like different stamps depending on where you were going to fish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is
complicated.
This is a lot of like shit to remember. You know what I mean? And I already got in trouble with the last thing. I don't want to get in trouble again. So yeah, and then I went rabbit hunting and dove and quail, and I was like, this is what I'm talking about, right? You can get whatever it was, 10 rabbits a day or.
So that's the moment where it went from, screw fishing.
Yep.
I'm going to take this Walmart shotgun.
Yep.
Buy some shells.
Yep.
And I'm going to shoot some rabbits.
Yep. That's it.
So where did it go from there in terms of like your engagement in hunting? So you went shotgun hunting, obviously we met at the archery range. So when did that come about?
So I've always been fascinated with archery. Just never got into it because I didn't know anybody that shot a bow. So like I remember we'd go to like Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop and you could test bows out there. So I was like, man, I'm gonna get into this. I need to find a friend that's interested, right? And so my buddy Ernie ended up getting a traditional bow, and I'm like, perfect. I'm like, he's got a Native American background, so he was fascinated with the traditional style of archery. So he gets that, and I'm like, cool. I got my best friend just got into archery. Now I can go buy a bow. We went up to Oak Tree Gun Club. That's where I shot my first bow and arrow.
Yeah,
just a 20-pound recurve, and paper targets. I was like, archery sucks, right? It was
How long ago was this?
Fun. This was probably in 2019, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was shooting paper targets. I'm like, this is boring, right? I want to go shoot guns with the other guys.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, let's go shoot the 3D targets. I'm like, all right. So I fling an arrow like 15 yards at a styrofoam pig, and I'm like, that moment, I'm like, I'm getting a bow. Went home, went on Amazon, bought a PSE, which is pretty funny. I got the PSE Uprising because I knew nothing about archery. I'm like, it's PSE, it's got to be a good bow, right? And little did I know, it was like this little tiny kid's bow. It was a compound bow. It's actually kind of cool though. It goes from like, I think a 13-pound draw weight all the way up to 70.
Okay.
So of course I'm like, I'm a man, I got to shoot 70 pounds, right?
Yeah.
So I set this thing at 70 pounds. It's basically like a Honda Civic at 10,000 RPMs, right? It's just at its max capacity.
That's like a perfect description. I could totally picture that.
Yeah. And it was fun. I mean, I shot the hell out of it for probably a year and a half. And then I kind of felt like, oh man, people are looking at me. Like I got this tiny bow. So then I upgraded and I got something a little better. But,
What'd you get?
I got the PSE EVL.
Okay.
It's a bigger bow, and I didn't get the carbon.
Adult size.
Yeah, adult size. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Full size.
I should have got a carbon. If I could have done it different, I should have spent the extra couple $100. It makes a difference.
I mean, when you jump into the realm of what bow company you go with and what you're going to purchase and what material it's made out of, it gets expensive.
It can.
Really fast.
Yeah.
So are you still shooting the PSE?
I am. Yep. And no rhyme or reason, I'll probably stick with PSE just because that's what I started with. And, and it's been treating me well. So
have
you got your little birthday present bow yet?
No, I have not. So,
but you're honed in on what you want.
I mean, I'm honed in on what I do want, but in accordance with what I'm putting in for in terms of tags, it all has to do with freedom seeds. Just because I can't go during bow season, so I've kind of leaned more towards the fact of, you know what, why purchase a new bow now if I don't necessarily plan on putting in for archery tags this year?
Yeah.
And every year it's like a new computer. It comes out, come the end of hunting season and archery season that, by November, everybody's going to have their new lineup.
Yep.
Or at least you can get this year's version a lot cheaper, maybe.
Not yet. This year's version is going to be a lot cheaper when next year's version comes out.
Right.
So I'm just one of those psychopathic buyers that I need the newest greatest, and so even though it doesn't make the difference, likely it's the archer that makes the difference, right?
Yeah.
But psychologically in my mind, I'll go out to the range with a lot more confidence. But in archery hunting, and I'd imagine that it's the same with any kind of hunting. Like I think it's you start with one brand and you kind of like grow that loyalty. So I started off with the Matthews Vertex. I still have the Matthews Vertex. And what Langosta is talking about is that I was looking at the new Matthews bows that were coming out and planning an archery hunt, obviously, all the tags that I was putting in for. But it seems like you kind of started with the PSE, we're not going to call it a kid's bow, but
right. Uprising.
The Uprising sounds great. So you started with the PSE Uprising. Great bow.
Still got it. I actually thought about turning it into a bow fishing bow because it'd be perfect for that.
Oh, dude, totally.
Yeah, drop down the weight. It'd be pretty awesome.
No, you should totally do that still.
But I don't want to get in trouble for fishing.
Still X-nay on the fish nay.
Yeah,
but now you're with the EVO.
Is that technically fishing, though?
I think you still
it's got to be.
Shooting it with a bow?
Totally.
I think you still got to have a fishing license.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
No, guaranteed. Yeah, you still have to have your fishing license. I don't know if there's any special specific license, I doubt it, but
I thought
I'd
you could shoot
consider
it.
that
You could shoot as
fishy.
many of those carps as
The
you
downside is there's no catch and release when you're bow fishing because it's dead when you hit it.
Yeah.
Whether it's too big or too small
want.
or whatever.
It's
Yeah.
cat food.
Yeah, it's not like hitting an elk in a bad spot and that thing's just like, dude,
Yep.
you just pestered me.
So what have you brought down with your bow?
So my my first hunting experience on an animal bigger than a rabbit or dove or quail.
Yeah, a big game.
Yeah, so I went. I saw a flyer actually at Oak Tree. It was a Bighorn Canyon Ranch. I don't know if you guys have heard.
Oh,
of it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, in Riverside.
We used to go there all the
Yeah.
time.
So I
Been
was
there
like,
several times.
yeah, I was like, I saw some of the pricing and I'm like, $500. Like that's amazing. Like I'm in, right?
We can do that.
Yeah, and so my buddy's like, "Oh, I'm totally down," So we called, we booked our first trip. I've only actually been there just the one time, and so when I got there, I was like, okay, like I almost felt a little bad. It didn't feel like hunting, and then
Because it isn't.
yeah, and then people,
Bighorn
It's more like
Zoo.
shooting.
yeah. People were talking about the whole like shooting fish in a barrel. I'm like, now I know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You got to like walk past the sheep. You're like, that one's too small. I want to go for that bigger one. And you're moving pigs out of the way. And it's like, it kind of felt weird.
They had a whole catalog. What did you go there for?
So I got, what is it? The Barbados sheep. So it looks
Okay.
like a little horned ram, and to be honest, it actually kicked my ass. Not that it was hard to get to them, but it was actually hard to shoot one. Only because they like to huddle up. And the guy told us, he's like, if you hit one and wound another, like you're buying that animal.
Yeah.
And so
Give it a twofer.
yeah, so I only went there with a certain amount of money. So I'm like, I can't afford to screw up. Right. So yeah, it took a while. But finally got it done and it was cool. They help you, do all the skinning and quartering and all that stuff. So I actually asked if I could do most of it because that was my first time doing anything, larger than a rabbit.
Yeah.
So yeah, he walked me through the whole process. And it was cool, man. I ate the shit out of that meat and messed it up a bunch of times on the smoker and, but I learned that doing some of that, I guess it's like a goat, right? So doing some of that meat slow cooker style was definitely the best way to go about it.
And Langosta had mentioned it, but I know when I joined the club about 6 years ago, that was kind of a spot. That was a moment in time for like people in California that you had the chance to go to an area where you could kind of like put your skills to the test.
Yep.
And they had a nice catalog. They had quite a few animals.
They did, yeah. My buddy got, with the same trip we were there, he got one of those, what was it, like a razorback Russian boar or something?
Yeah.
It was huge. I mean, it was probably well over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
I have never seen those there. I only heard about them.
That was the one and only that was there while we were there. And we found it and he nailed it
those are
with
hard
his
to get.
traditional bow too. It was pretty badass.
That's awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
it was
trad bow.
cool. Trad bow. It was like 45 pound, recurve bow or whatever.
Yeah.
We filmed it too. He like sneaks in like 15, 16 yards and just smokes them. It's freaking cool.
One of my buddy G's kind of became friends with the owner of that Bighorn Ranch, and he went there quite a few times and got a few pigs and then got a sheep as well.
Nice. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard they closed.
Yeah,
They've
they're
been
closed.
closed.
They've
Have
been
it?
closed
Yeah.
for the past couple of years.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I heard they were doing like buffalo out of there, and I'm like, what? So I'm like, that would have been awesome.
that would have been crazy.
Well, they just let loose. I think those crazy environmentalist people were on their ass all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I
California.
get it, right? I heard they were like trucking in pigs and stuff from Texas, and then
Yeah, they definitely trucked in some. They trucked them in from everywhere, I would imagine. But
sure,
the people give those kinds of places a. They try and like so. Well, that's not hunting. It's not. But listen, when you have people that are trying to get into hunting, like if you say, hey, here's your bow, you're a new guy. Here's your bow. Here's your license. Go get yourself a deer.
it's probably never going to happen.
Could take 6 years.
Yeah, yep.
Trying of putting doing your stock and all that stuff, and forget it. Just finding them and finding them is one problem, and getting close enough to get them with a bow. I shot a ram there with a bow. I shot a couple of pigs. Probably hunted there maybe 4 or 5 times
Okay,
with
nice.
the club.
I've never gone there.
But it was a great place if you were starting or if you had a young hunter that wanted to kind of get their feet wet and see if this was for them. Those type of places are invaluable.
It really was. I mean, in a sense, right? It kind of like let you know if this is for you or not. It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
That's a great
like,
point.
I was able to handle this. I like it, right? I cooked the meat. I wasn't grossed out. Like, this is something I want to pursue. And just been trying ever since. So we did a turkey hunt, my buddy and I. And so that was pretty sweet, right? We used those big decapitating broadheads.
Those things are crazy.
They are. They're
in
super
slow
cool.
motion.
Yeah.
They're like the greatest thing to like hunting social media ever.
Yep. Yeah. So we actually went up to the archery range. We went to like a Big Lots and bought a couple king size pillows. And my buddy drew a turkey silhouette on there with a Sharpie. We hung it on the rope across the sand pit, and that's what we were practicing on, just shooting a pillow. And it was like, dude, I got this. If I can get within 20 yards, that turkey's done.
Yeah.
Got within 20 yards, launched my arrow. I mean, it was like as soon as I pulled my release, that thing bent down to like eat something. And so it just went right over its head. Heard the arrow, turned around, and then it went out, I don't know, maybe another 7 yards or so, 27 yards. And all I could see was just the fan of its tail. And I'm like, oh, here we go, right? Texas heart shot. And sent an arrow pretty much right up his keister. And he was done.
Dead bird.
Oh yeah, done. Yeah.
I am not ashamed of a Texas heart shot, bro.
It's a quick kill. I mean, if you do it right, it's done.
Hey,
I've
if
killed quite a few
it's
things.
something that if it's a named technique, it's a technique.
Yeah.
Well,
Therefore, an option.
I think in Texas they just don't stop shooting. So
Right.
whether they're looking at you, turning broadside, or running away, they're still getting shot at.
Yep.
So it's funny in Africa, that term is commonly used in Africa.
A Texas heart shot?
Absolutely.
In Africa?
All of the guides know it.
That's
They're like-
really?
they're like if she turns or if he turns and runs, shoot Texas hot shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, the first time I heard it was there. I didn't even hear it in Texas when I went hunting in Texas.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So you shot a turkey with a bow. Have there been other hunts that you kind of put in for archery hunting, or?
Yeah. So I've done Arizona for javelina. Unfortunately, came up short on that one. And then I've actually been in the pursuit for a bear for a while.
Really? Here in California?
Yeah, really. I mean, I don't know why. For me, I want to do it with a bow.
Yeah.
Something about just kind of accomplishing that goal, I think, would be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, we've got a very healthy bear population here in California.
It's
so
huge. Last time I read, I think it's up to like almost 80,000 bears in California.
yeah, it's crazy,
lot.
Well,
man.
they got rid of the dog hunting thanks to genius politicians getting involved in scientific assessments of populations of bears.
Yeah.
But
And,
there are a lot of organizations that are out there that are fighting the fight to kind of bring some of that back, and I think there's a kind of the beginning of a movement with not hound hunting, but going out there and
should be able to bait them. They bait them everywhere else.
They do.
Everywhere else they bait them. Everywhere they bait them.
And we don't even have a spring bear season here in California.
No,
so,
we don't.
I think they're gonna. Well, so and it's funny, right? Note to self: don't tell your buddies you're going bear hunting because they'll make fun of you every time you come back without a bear.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, there was one in this guy's swimming pool in Pasadena, and you freaking spent a week in the woods and you couldn't get
Upland,
one.
California, they're all over the place.
I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I'm in the woods, right?
Yeah.
They're definitely not hanging out by my tent.
I've
but
never seen them, and I've never seen a black bear while I've been hunting.
super
here.
hard to see.
Yeah, neither have I, but I tell you what, I've seen some fresh freaking piles of scat that is just like still steaming, and I'm like, okay, this motherfucker's around somewhere.
Yep, definitely.
But they're elusive, man, and they'll show up on your cameras all the time.
all the time. Yeah,
It's like,
got some good footage.
Oh, look, a bear.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to actually when you're out there in the pursuit,
Crickets.
nowhere to be found.
No, it's not. It's not an easy thing, especially. I mean, if you don't have dogs, it's a problem.
Yeah, so they're talking about. I think it was. Oh man, I should know this, but I'm like my mind's.
It was with one of the
shifting
local
between mountain
politicians
lions
here.
and,
it was one of the local politicians here in the South Bay that co-wrote that legislation to get rid of the hound hunting.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that fought for it, and they're gonna start doing some hound chasing where you can tree animals, and I forget if it's mountain lions or bears, but I think it's mountain lions with hounds. There's a kind of a big fight for that, so it'll be kind of curious just to kind of not make them so comfortable with just the people population.
No, they start snatching
Because they're
people.
like super protected right now.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bears in California.
Tons.
And if you get one with a bow, freaking that's
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, so I actually I found a guide on Instagram actually, And so it's a New Mountain Outfitters.
Here in California?
Yep. So they're up like near like Redding, up in that area. So it was like a year I was planning it. You know, I already paid, you know, my fees and whatnot, and went up there last August. And so I don't know, it was probably maybe two-ish weeks or so. I was refletching some arrows just to make sure I had plenty enough to go up there with me.
Oh, you fletched your own?
Yeah. I mean, I attempt to.
I mean,
they don't look too
you
bad,
make American flags.
Right. Yeah. My arrow skills aren't that great, but they look all right. So I did learn something though, man. Wear safety glasses if you fletch your own arrows. So I'm sitting there in front of my TV watching like Meat Eater or something, right? And just, you know, stripping down the veins off the arrows. Felt something kind of smack me in my eye. I'm like, oh, that was weird, right? No big deal. Kept going. You know, working construction, you get stuff in your eye all the time. So I didn't really feel like that big of a deal. Just figured I'm going to go to bed soon. Tomorrow morning I'll wake up and it'll be fine. Woke up in the morning and I'm like, dude, my eye is bugging me. And went to work. My eye was red. People are like, you got pink eye? I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. I got some in my eye. Go home, try to flush it out. I'm like, this is not working. So I'm like, I'm going to go to urgent care. You know, I got this hunt coming up. I've spent a lot of money, been training my ass off. Like and it was in my peep eye too. So your aiming eye, right? So I go to urgent care. They put some like dye in my eye, like some glow in the dark or purple dye or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, it looks like you got a piece of metal in there. Oh. And I'm like, okay. They're like, we can't get that out here. You're going to have to go to a optometrist. Oh. So I'm like, all right. So call the eye doctor. They're like, yeah, we can get you in right before we close. So I go in. They numb my eye up, and I had a piece of a Victory Arrow carbon fiber splinter actually in the eye, not just sitting in my eye, but actually, you know, poked in like a splinter.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, dude, I have a bear hunt in like 10 days. I'm like, what in the hell? So they get it out, thankfully. But then my eye felt just like raw and like rough. And
yeah.
So I had to do the eye drops and all that stuff. And, you know, even driving up to Northern California, I'm like on the freeway, like, come on, freaking eye, heal already. Luckily, you know, by the time I started to get out there to hunt, it was pretty much fine. And then I didn't see a bear.
Wow.
So I sat in a tree stand for
well, but that
for
wasn't
3
your
days.
fault. You had your peep eye wasn't working.
Yeah.
The bear was there.
Right,
You just
right.
didn't see
Yep.
it.
Yeah, if that eye was working, you would have saw it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it was right there, Justin. It was just on the wrong
It was in your
side.
blind spot.
Man, it was funny. So I sat in this tree stand for the first 2 days, probably about 13, 14 hours, right? Sun, you know, dark in the morning all the way to dark at night. And there's a nice little wallow just sitting out there, maybe like 14, 16 yards or so. And bears have been hitting that camera like nonstop because it had been hot.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, the day we get there, it starts dumping rain and the temperature drops like 12 degrees, right? So the weather totally changes. I'm like, no big deal. I'm sitting in this tree by myself, no one around. I'm like, this is wild. I'm just sitting in a tree in the middle of nowhere, like just getting dumped on, and I'm loving it, right? Like I you know, it was pretty cool to just be out there and kind of experience some of that nature. So I went back the next day. We did 2 days in that tree, nothing. And so my guide was like, dude, I don't know what's going on. Bears have been hitting that hole like freaking every day, and now they're not. And I'm like, all right. He's like, let's try this other tree. So we go about 1.5 miles away, sit in another tree all day long. That bear hits that first tree that I was at for 2 days. And that was my last day of the hunt. So I never got him. And the whole drive home, I was just, you know, 8 hours or 10 hours, whatever it was driving home. I was like, God damn, this sucks.
So the bear is still elusive.
Still out there. Yeah.
So are you doing any, are you putting in for anything out of state or just mainly staying here in California?
I'm definitely gonna do some Arizona stuff. We have some property out, you know, a little bit past Kingman. Mm-hmm. So there's some good deer out there, and there's definitely some elk up in that area as well too. So yeah, in a way, I kind of, when I first started hunting, it was like, I got to do it in steps, right? I got to get like my rabbit, then a turkey, then a deer and a pig, right? And then I could go bear and then elk. And I don't really think that it needs to be that way, but that was just kind of my plan.
Yeah. And sometimes when you create those plans, it's almost as if that mental game that you play with in your own head kind of sets you on that path. And, you know, it's difficult to stray from it.
Yep.
But I'd agree. Like I've been putting in for Arizona every year since the time that I've been hunting. And on the last episode, our live episode, we were talking about the fact that this is my 5th year, so I'm actually going to earn a loyalty point for the elk draw. And my oldest daughter, actually has 5 points now too. So super stoked on that.
That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and California's got a lot of big game. It's absolutely fantastic, and there's a lot to experience out there. And I'm pretty sure that with your bull, your PSE EVO is going to be out there hunting as soon as we can get back onto that range, because that range is still unfortunately closed.
Definitely.
So Justin, super stoked for you joining us on the show. Super happy to have met you, stayed in touch, obviously, with your social media, and then having you here on the show. And even better yet, great product, and here local in the South Bay. Thank you for joining us. Tell the people out there how they can get in touch with you and some of the things that you have to offer.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I'm currently just on Instagram. I found that that's kind of the easiest way to push my my products. I do read messages, right? Even sift through all the spam stuff. But yeah, if you go to Instagram, look up at American_flag_co. That's American Flag Co. Send us a message on anything that you'd be interested in. I tell a lot of folks to just scroll through my page and see if you like anything, or if you have your own idea that you want to kind of throw a twist onto something that I already have. We could do the wavy flags. We got some 3x5s that we do. Our standard size is the one that's back here behind us, which is about a 37-inch flag. And then we do some smaller stuff, right? We do some 2-foot flags, key holders. I utilize bullet casings and hooks, and we can do all kinds of stuff. So
Right on.
And I always like doing something for the first time, something different, something special.
Well, I really appreciate our new wall art. We're definitely going to sport it with pride.
Definitely.
Super stoked. Look at that thing. Look at that thing behind us.
Man, I'm glad you guys like that. That thing turned out beautiful.
Dude, beautiful. When you sent me that kind of sneak peek, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yep.
I instantly screenshotted that, sent that to Langosta, and Brian was like, dude,
That's cool.
Justin's hooking it up.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely, man. It's awesome.
We appreciate it, man. And again, you are local here in California, the South Bay. We're definitely going to be keeping in touch. And,
For sure.
We'll have you on again anytime. We're friends now. So anytime you want to kind of get together, just give us a shout.
Yep.
Obviously, before the show, we were talking about the Redondo Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah,
so
I'm in, man. I got to sign up.
if you're not singing karaoke on Thursdays at the Barley Project, then
right.
you got to come out and join us, and we'll be more than happy to welcome you.
Definitely, man.
Right on. Well, thanks again for your gift. Thanks for coming on the show. Yep. And for those of you watching, if you haven't liked or subscribed or hit the little bell, please do so now. And remember, you can send us a request, or you can send us your rants, your mail.
Mullet Mail and Redneck Rants.
That's right. To Mullet Mail at Rifles, Rods, and Broads, in case you want to get a hold of Randy, cousin Randy. Well, guys, thanks very much for another episode of Rifles, Rods, and Broads. Langosta and my good pal JoJo here, getting ready to sign this, wrapping it up, and signing out.
Justin, mahalo once again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. This was fun. Thank you.
You'll be back.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Aloha, everyone.